Welcome back. Multi-view drawing 5, page 124. There's 7 drawings here. The earlier drawing, I said there was only 6 drawings, but I went back and I counted and make sure that there's 7 drawings. All right. If you open up page 124A PDF, which is here, we're going to start with the right. This side here as being our front, just like we did on the 573. This is going to be our front side because this is going to be the most interesting view to start this drawing off with. All right. I know A to D is 9 3/4 inches. All right. We got to figure out all these lines on the bottom down here don't mean anything to us on our front view because it's going to be on the bottom edge. All the things up here at the top, though, we need to pay attention to. All right. But before we can do that, we need to do 9 3/4 by 6 1/2. All right. So let's go to our drawing. Now, I did 6 1/2 by 9 3/4. All right. Just to prove that to you. Now, I'm going to move that up just a little bit to prove to you the width of that. Now, in the drawing, it tells us from this corner to this line here is 1 1/8. And from this line to this line is 2 inches. From this corner here to this line is 1 1/2. And from this line to this line is 2 1/2. All right. There's a circle. There's 8 circles going to go here, 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 and here. And it's going to be ones on the other side. Now, it doesn't tell you the measurements for the other side, but guess what you can do? All you need to do is go here and mirror these to the other side. And they'll be automatically if you use this as your center line. Now, this is P here. Talking about your distance. Now, let's go back to look at P. We know that P is 1 1/8. Basically, what I did is I found out, I drew a line right here in the middle. And I went and drew a line straight up and down from the midpoint. Then I offset this 0.5625 for 1 1/8. All right. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and box this in because it's going to be a whole lot easier. I'm going to change my color of that object layer because I don't like the light blue. It's sort of light color. Hard to see sometimes. I like the green color. I'm going to go ahead and block that in. What I know so far. Make it easier on myself. Because when you get finished with drawing this one, you're going to have so many construction lines on it for your circles and things. It's going to be a little hard to see everything. So we need to go ahead and block everything in as we go. Plus, it keeps us from having to go back and redo it when we're finished. I need to move that over away from that. There we go. And then let's go back out to our example here. We know there's 8 holes that are 1/2 inch in diameter. So basically what I'm going to do, there's my center point for that, 0.5. I can sit there and draw those holes all day long, but guess what? There's an easier way to do that. Copy. Use that as my center point. It's just everywhere there's a point, there's a cross point. I had to move it away from that navigational tool there. Now, what I need to do is I need to offset this line here to give myself some room to get my right side view done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset that. I'm going to offset it 4 inches because you got to remember your drawing A to B is 6 inches. So I'm going to draw it 4 inches so I can get my dimensions in there. So I'm going to offset it 4. I know that thickness, that width of that is A to B, so that's 6 inches there. All right, so let's go ahead and offset that line again. So 6 inches. Now, I know there's a line that goes right up through here. Oh, got the wrong layer, I'm sorry. Now, basically, for everything that's solid here, we've got it pretty much covered. So let's go ahead and block that in. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to get our construction lines set over here from these holes here. There's holes here on the bottom of this. It's going to be easier to figure those out when we do our top view. So let's go ahead and bring our construction line over for our center of our holes here. Get our construction line. Let's change our layer back so we don't end up having a green construction line there. Let's turn on our ortho mode to keep it straight. Now, we can we could draw that, use the top and the bottom of that to draw that line. But what I'd rather do, I'd rather come out here and see it's a 1/2 inch diameter hole. Get back in here, offset that 0.25. The top and the bottom. And see how that's lined up there? Now, the only thing I've got left to do now is I do need to come back in here and show the thickness on that back side. Because we know that B to A is 6 inches, but there's an inch side coming down here. All right, so let's go here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset this line here 1 inch forward. And then we're going to go here. And of course, I'm right there next to my navigation tools. Let's delete that line there. That line needs to come back here. That's something else I messed up there, excuse me. Trying to do this quick and end up killing myself on time here. Now, I'm going to offset this line here to the forward 0.25. That's for my center line. From here to my center line. All right. So I need to go back to my object line layer and go ahead and block that in where I screwed it up to start with. I need to get the front edge here on this line. Now, if you look at the drawing example, it don't have a line going here or here, so we got to trace that line. We got to shorten that line up here. Just reach in there and grab it. Up. Nope, don't want to move the whole thing. I just want to move that line. It may be just simply delete that line and redraw it. It looks like it's going to be. And I've got to redraw that angle line there too. And then I'm going to switch it to my hidden line layer. And get your holes going through there. That's your hidden lines to show your holes going through there. And I need to offset this line here for my center lines too. It's already set to 1/4. Now I'll change it to my center line layer. Draw your lines. And move on. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to offset this line here. I'm going to offset that line up 4 inches. To give myself enough room for my measurements and things. Now, I know the distance from the back to the front, A to B, is 6 inches. So I'm going to offset that again, 6 inches. I know the thickness of this material is 1 inch. I know my rib. Got the wrong layer, sorry. And then my rib, this is basically how I found my rib on the front side, my front view. Basically, I went here, drew a line across there, midpoint to midpoint. And then we know that rib again is P, it's 1 1/8. So basically what I'm going to do is I'll set that line 0.5625 to the left and to the right. And then basically all I've got left to do as far as my features on this is get my location for my holes here. And I got to pull my construction lines up here for my holes on the top. Let's go ahead and locate our circles on the bottom of the top. I know we go to E to J and E to H. All right, so let's go over. E to H is 2 inches. E to J is 2.5. So let's go to our drawing. So I'm going to come back 2.5, 2.5. Oh, wrong direction. Should have just deleted that one instead of going backwards here. I'll set that one. I think it's 2.5. Yep, and this one is 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line straight down here and mirror that line to the other side. Select my object there, hit enter. First point on my mirror line. Because they tell us dimensions for the right side, but they don't tell us for the left side. So we know it's actually going to be equidistant on either side. So now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and go to my object line layer and start blocking this in. Because otherwise, in just a moment, it's going to get really busy with my construction lines because I got to put my holes coming through my backside, just like I did on the right side view. And then I've got to transfer my circles from here down to my down here and on the front right side view. Let's go ahead and block in things so we can see them as we need to. Makes things easier to see if you go ahead and do them now. Now what I'm going to do is go back to my drawing example, find my circle sizes again. I know that G is 3/4 inch diameter. So let's go back to our drawing and do that. Diameter tool, 0.75. It's going to be a really bit of, it'll look like little bitty circles, but they are little bitty circles. 0.75 diameter. Now, all that we have left to do now is just to bring these holes down into this front view and the right side view and take these holes back here to the top view. And as I said, it's going to get messy, 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 messy. So give me just a second here. So let me go ahead and get my construction layer. What I try to avoid doing on my front view is getting my front view so messy. Turn my ortho so it keeps me straight here. Well, thought I turned it on. Now, verify that hole size. we know we have 1/2 inch diameter, 8 holes all the way through. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to offset this line first. Two inches. And I get my 2 inches here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically just take this line here and this line here and mirror it to the other side of this line. And see how it lines up over there? Now, I'm going to take this line, I'm going to offset it 0.25. Same thing here. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up top and I'm going to take this line. I got to do my other construction line coming down through here. Now let me go ahead and offset this one the same distance I did the other ones, and I'll worry about that top one in just a moment. Had to zoom in to get that line taken care of there. We'll take care of this line coming down through here, which I've already got it here. Let's change to my hidden lines now. Hit escape. It'll be real easy to mess up and forget which line you're supposed to click, so make sure you pay attention here. Now for my center lines, I got to bring this, I got to have a way to get those lines set. I'll set that 1/4 inch to the back and 1/4 inch to the front. Change to my center lines. And let me just show you another trick here. I don't want that line. I want this line right here. as you can probably figure out already if you're thinking like I'm thinking, I'm just going to mirror those to the other side because they're going to be evenly dispersed over there. And no, we don't want to erase the source. See how those lines are already popped up over there? Now, that line was not, all right, so that shows your circles coming through here with your center points hidden lines. Now these lines here, these circles here were 0.75 diameter. So let me make sure I'm saying that right. So G was 0.75 diameter, or 3/4 diameter. So what I'm going to do, I know half of 0.75 is 0.375. 0.375 well, you know what? All I have to do is that right there. I'm just going to mirror that to the other side. And it should line up. I didn't click it quick enough. All right, so now I know here, here, and here are my center lines and my hidden lines. Now I need to offset this line up 1/4 inch, or 0.25, for my center lines. And this one down here. Now, I know wait for my computer to catch up with me here. And then my hidden lines are going to go here. My hidden lines are going to go here. My center line is going to go here. And then all I got to do is mirror that to the other side. And mirror using that same, well, let it go, I'm sorry. Until I don't want to erase the source object. Now we have those lines set there. Now one of the things we're going to use to set our center point here for this line is I know from the drawing example that we go back E to J. E to J is 2.5 inches. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm offset that line from the front edge of that front I'll set that back 2.5 inches, 2.5. And then what I'm going to do, you see, you already got your 1/8 inch, your center lines and everything marked there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to basically copy these lines. Go up here and copy them. So specify my base point there. And hit escape. Now, we go up here and turn off my construction lines to make sure I got everything drawn. Now, all we're left to do is dimension this now. Now, we know nine and 3/4. We know P 1 1/8. We know the depth of this. We know the thickness of this. We know the diameter of this. Excuse me. We know the height. We know the thickness. We'll show the height again. And show the depth again. Now, I'm going to turn my construction lines back on in just a second. Help me do my dimensions here, because we need to make sure we're showing how we got to everything. So as you can tell, I use my dimensions to make sure I was on the right place when I was drawing it. So that's what they're on the construction line for. Let's see, I think we need to do this one as well. We've moved this one out. We need this one. Now let me turn my construction lines off. All right, don't want to change the color, just want to change to the layer. Easiest way to do this one is go in here and edit your dimension. And use the X for the times. 8. Well, I'm supposed to hold the shift key down. 8 holes. Now, close your text editor. Now, just as simply, I could have done that up here. But since there's hardly any dimensions on the top, I just dimension each of the holes here. And that is page 124, figure 574, angle plate. I'll be walking around trying to help you guys out. All right, get it done.